Welcome to Beyond the Mask. Innovation in anesthesia never stops. And today we're diving into an exciting new development in airway management. What if a simple design change could improve safety, efficacy, and provide an ease of use for CRNAs? Our guests today are here to share the story behind a new oral airway device that's reimagining how we manage the airway. From concept to clinical use, Jason and John walk us through the inspiration, the challenges of development, and the potential impact this tool could have on everyday anesthesia practice. Whether you're in an OR, a researcher, or just someone who loves hearing how innovation comes to life, you won't want to miss this conversation.
CRNA Financial Planning is a sponsor of Beyond the Mask podcast. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group. Nothing in this podcast should be construed as investment advice. Plus, did you know listening to our podcast can earn you Class B credits? For details on how to submit, visit the CE credit section at beyondthemaskpodcast.com. Welcome to Beyond the Mask, innovation and opportunities for CRNAs and advanced practice nurses, with certified financial planner Jeremy Stanley and CRNA Sharon Pierce. Jeremy Stanley has worked with CRNAs for more than 23 years, and Sharon Pierce is a former president of the AANA and the NCANA. Join us as we leave the operating room and learn the latest in the CRNA and advanced practice nurse industries. Beyond the Mask starts in 10, 9, 8,
7. And Jason Keene and John Brown, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. And John, why don't you kick us off and tell us a little bit about your background and introduce why we're here tonight.
Once again, thank you for having us. My name's John. I've been a CRNA since 13, mostly in the Philadelphia area, mostly in South Jersey. Last couple of years, I've been doing a lot of ortho cases, mostly MAC, and I had to deal with a couple issues with Goodell Airways and Berman's. So it brought us to our little fancy device and what brought us here today.
Great. And I think it's funny is that, people in Jersey say South Jersey still, it's like, you don't want to be from North Jersey. I'm from South Jersey.
If you're from around Philly and you're an Eagles fan, you're letting people know you're Lions without saying it. That's why we say South Jersey.
I gotcha. Well, Jason, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background as well?
John is my cousin. I don't think we've shared that with either of you yet.
Oh.
I've been an entrepreneur since birth. Had a couple businesses, sold a couple at the beginning of last year. John approached me with an opportunity to join Arete, and it was an offer I could not refuse. So here we are about a year later, and we're just a couple weeks away from getting our first batch of samples. So we're pretty excited about it.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you pronounced Arete before I had to pronounce it and slaughter it. I have been known to do that on the show quite a bit. So thank you for that, Jason. I'll give you that tip later. But why don't you just tell us who is Arete and what are you guys doing?
We came up with the concept of Arete is bringing something, an object, to its fullest completion, its fullest realization. And we think that we did that with the oral airway. And 2010, the ASA changed how we monitor anesthesia, and they put out a mandate that we monitor end-tidal CO2. When you breathe out, CO2 comes out. So you're monitoring respiratory rate, basically, with the Bermans and the Goodells. Basically, you get a little blip. It's hard to tell what exactly going on because you're not getting a really good end-tidal waveform. So our device, it hooks directly to it right here, and then the oxygen hooks directly to it. So you're getting a clearer picture of respiratory status because the end-tidal CO2 waveform is much more reliable.
Sharon, I know you're just dying to ask a question.
Well, let's go back and talk about airways in general. Airways these airways that we use have been around for close to 100 years. And my understanding is they haven't changed significantly in that time. I mean, the form has been the same. They used to be metal. I actually have the old metal airways that my quote unquote anesthesia mom used to use whenever she dropped ether. I have them in my foyer in a shadow box. And then I understand they went to a collapsible kind of rubber thing. And then we've got the hard plastic that we currently have. So they haven't really changed in structure, size, and our patient population has changed in size, correct?
Yes, we're getting a lot more obese patients. We're also getting a lot more minimally invasive surgery. We're getting better block techniques. So the amount of times that we use sedation has increased, and the amount of patients that require an oral airway have also increased.
Now, I've been giving anesthesia 35 years. How many airways have you ever seen where it didn't require some kind of assistive device? You know where I'm going with this. I mean, if I find one that I don't have to use some kind of assistive device on, I go and buy a lottery ticket that day because I am feeling really, really lucky. And my financial planner tells me not to go buy lottery tickets. I won't name any names here, but
Well, you're going to start to buy a lot of lottery tickets, I think is the point of this
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Jason, I'm going to ask you because you and I are probably on the same page here. How many airways have you seen that you didn't have to use an assistive device?
Exactly 0, because
Yeah,
I've never
I'm
seen one
right there.
used. And
So, we got the same number. And Sharon and John have the same number, all.
yes,
oh, there you go. There you go. So describe to me a little bit more. Is it adjustable? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yeah, so we took the three most common adult sizes and
Large, large, and extra large.
that,
No,
that
I'm teasing.
so it's 100, and then with one little click, it goes down to 90 and then to 80.
So our listeners can't see what you're holding up right now, unfortunately, but basically the flange on the end of the airway is adjustable, so it can back up to 80 millimeter, come out to 90, come on out to 100. So instead of having three airway assistive devices, this airway device is a one and done.
correct. Yeah, and it was pretty important for us to have that when we're in the engineering process, because early on we found a couple studies of how much waste was happening because of misjudging the size, and the one study we found was up to 20%. That's a huge expense on hospitals and surgery centers.
I can believe that because I had that happen to me today whenever you misjudge it. So I agree with that. That's probably pretty accurate. So you talk about there are no devices on the market that adhere to sedation guidelines. Do you care to expand on that? What does that mean?
There are a lot of devices out there outside of the mask. We had the Palm come out. Now that there's been other renditions of that, the mask is now capable of monitoring end-tidal CO2. But if you use an oral airway, you either need some kind of adjunct, because a lot of what happens is you put the oral airway in, the nasal cannula is now useless. So you change the nasal cannula that's meant to be into either the hole of the Goodell or in between the two slots in the Berman, and you wind up increasing your FiO2, your flow rates to 8, 9, 10 liters, and start to get a washout effect, and their end-tidal CO2 is now inaccurate. Sometimes some people will put masks on, and so now you're up to a nasal cannula and a mask to monitor appropriately and to deliver oxygen. So basically, there's no complete oral airway that has the capabilities on its own of monitoring end-tidal CO2 and delivering oxygen and have a port for suctioning. And like we mentioned prior, it can adjust. And there's also a little modification at the base that goes into the oral pharynx in the event that there's an obstruction. If the main orifice gets obstructed, there's two little secondary ports that allow oxygen to escape and CO2 if they are still breathing.
Now, describe to me, because remember, our listeners cannot see this airway. And if you send us a link, and if you've got pictures online somewhere, we will certainly post it in our show notes. But is there a port for end-tidal CO2 to be monitored as well as a port for oxygen to go in? So there's two ports on it?
Yeah, so there's two ports, one on the right side, one on the left side, and in the middle there's a spot for suctioning. We use the slip tip Luralock, which is standard for any O2 tubing, and we used a male adaptive Luralock for end-tidal, which is used for, so it has the capability of going into any OR without any added cost.
Okay. So how much are these airways? Just can you tell us what they're not to market where I can get them yet, right?
We are close to that. We're a couple weeks away. We're coming up with the final cost analysis, and Jason's probably better equipped to answer that question.
I was about to say you're doing pretty good on that, John.
But let's be honest, it was
Yeah,
probably
we
shared
haven't.
because right before you asked that, I wrote down cost differential because I thought that would be something that people would be interested in. But
And I asked the question first. How do you like that, Jeremy?
yeah,
I'm pretending I'm Jeremy today.
What I can say is that through our cost analysis, we're going to have a lower price point than that of a Goodell or a Berman when you include certain factors, like I told you, the waste, the 20% waste, the amount of oxygen that our device saves compared to the Berman and the Goodell, and a couple other factors. But it will be priced in such a way that for the hospital, it will actually be cheaper for them to use ours than to use the alternatives.
so I got a question. How long have you guys been working on this? I mean, how long has this project taken to this point?
Well, I'll start with this, John, and then you can give your 2 cents. But I can remember years ago, John scribbling on a napkin his ideas of oral airways. And at the time, being knee deep in a couple businesses going, dude, I don't even know what you're talking about. Not slightly interested in getting into another business. And then fast forward a couple of years, it came back up that he was like, I'm in. I'm doing this with or without you. And it's been pretty nonstop. Both of us working essentially a full-time job and then doing this full-time since myself last December and then him several months prior to that.
Yeah, I filed the provisional patent October 24th of last year. So October 24th, 2024, we filed the provisional patent. In that time, we've come up with prototypes, testing, figured out somebody capable enough to provide the tooling for the injection molding, which took us, that was honestly the hardest part. Our goal was to keep it here in America, and there's no, unfortunately, there's no American companies with the capabilities of doing these tools. They're pretty complex. It's called the rotary slide.
Rotary slide, yeah. And not to bore, and it's hard to explain without visual, so I won't spend too much time on this. But Sharon, you know that the Goodell is not, it tapers. And for the machine to make the mold, it essentially has to turn while it's in the tooling and then pull out. And it took us probably 15 or 16, maybe even more different manufacturers before one in America could even figure out how these were made. And he's like, I don't think these could be made. And we're like, dude, these have been being made for almost 100 years. So figure it out. And he did. His name was Mike. He was a great guy. And he emailed us on a Saturday. We had met in his office on a Friday, and he reached out to us the next day and figured out how it was made, but didn't think he was capable of doing it in-house, so we had to go elsewhere.
Are you a resident or CRNA looking to transition into independent practice? The AANA and Beyond the Mask are here to help you thrive as your own boss. Introducing the 1099 CRNA Institute, taught by Beyond the Mask host Jeremy Stanley and Sharon Pierce. This comprehensive educational series provides detailed guidance on business structure, legal and tax implications, and financial management tailored specifically for 1099 CRNAs. Lean into the feeling of freedom and embrace the opportunity to be your own boss with the AANA as your partner on this exciting journey toward independence. Enroll now and earn valuable continuing education credits as you chart a new course in your rewarding career. Visit aana.com/1099 to learn more and take the first step toward your new future. Remember, that's aana.com/1099 or click the link in the description of today's show. The 1099 CRNA Institute. Thrive as your own boss.
So you've tested these on patients. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the way we did it, the way we set it up was if someone had a Berman or a Goodell in and the FiO2, the flow rates reached 8 or above, we placed our oral airway in. And what we saw in 100% of the patients, we'll have to do more testing, but what we saw is a 40 to 60% decrease in oxygen, and then better end-tidal CO2 tracing and numerical values.
Well, sure, the higher your flows are, the more washout you get. So that absolutely stands to reason. We see that all the time. How many patients have you tested this on so far, John?
So probably like 500. We gave about 500 away. So we gave 500 to 15 different hospitals, surgery centers across 6 different states.
And you've gotten great feedback from it. I mean,
Yeah, so our feedback was based off of 40 clinicians that had filled out a form. When these were packaged, it included a QR code, and we basically asked, "Hey, do you mind filling out and sharing your results?" So as many as John said, we sent out. We had 40 clinicians fill out that form, and I want to say that 36 were CRNAs and 4 were anesthesiologists, if I'm not mistaken.
okay.
And I think that the best quote that hit home for me was somebody said, "I no longer had to guess if that end-tidal CO2 bleb was them breathing or artifact. I knew my patient was breathing." I was like, oh man, that kind of hit home.
So let's go back. You talked about the ports that are on there. How did you get the idea about the ports? And I asked this question because the metal airways that my mother, and I put mother of anesthesia in quotes because she really wasn't my mother, but she's the one who got me when I got out of anesthesia school and really taught me how to give anesthesia. Those old metal airways had ports on them. Side ports.
I've never seen one.
I will send you a picture whenever I get back home. But they had ports on them.
You want to sell one?
No. She started giving anesthesia the year I was born.
Wow.
She's dead now. But like I said, she had all those metal airways and they had ports on them.
Were they the slip tips and the end-tidal and the
They
lower
didn't
lock?
have end-tidal. That was 1963, brother.
I meant that.
End-tidal has
Not
come
being
out since
real
I've
nice
been.
to you right now.
Yeah, end-tidal came out since I've been given anesthesia.
A lower lock. Was it lower lock systems?
No. I'll send you a picture of it. But I was just wondering if maybe you had somebody who had been given anesthesia that long that you knew, and you had some old airways.
Did
But
you have a father of anesthesia is what she said.
that exactly, Jason. So back to the original question before I diverted. How did you come up with the idea of the ports?
So honestly, I did it out of convenience. I was tired of having changing positions from supine to lateral, or even worse, when you go into a prone position and your nasal cannula is flipping or need to add a mask. I did it so that you had direct connections and it could function in any operating room. So I used standard, everyday used lower lock systems. So it's no added cost. And it's also directly connected. So nothing's migrating, nothing's moving. You get a continuous flow of oxygen and continuous monitoring throughout. So I originally did it out of convenience factor, and it showed that it functioned better because you're delivering oxygen to the oral pharynx and you're getting a sample from the oral pharynx too.
Sure. Well, that makes sense.
Well, and you guys, at the ANA meeting this year, you had the Room 8 pitch contest, which the ANA has been doing for the past few years. And basically, they give CRNAs who have business ideas the opportunity to get up, talk about their idea. And it's a contest, and then they decide, this is a great product and so forth. So let's talk a little bit about that, because you guys were in the contest, and I won't spoil it, but if you'll tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, we were a finalist. We were told that there was 28 submissions, and we were one of the top 5 finalists. We won the audience vote, and we got 4th overall, which was a little disappointing, but not too disappointing. We were a finalist. John's wife was the speaker at, I believe, 8 months pregnant, 7.5, 8, close to 9. She looked like she was 9.
In Nashville.
Right, said that.
Jason, you don't ever say a woman looks like she was 9, brother. I mean,
She's probably going to listen to this too. You might want to go back 10 seconds.
We're going to give you a pseudonym going forward for witness protection program, brother.
So John, is your wife a CRNA? Is she medically related, or?
Yeah, my wife's a CRNA. She also is the program director at Jefferson University Hospital in Philadelphia.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Which makes sense then.
Background, and that's kind of her domain.
Okay.
So generous enough at 7.5 months pregnant to go down to Nashville in 100-degree weather and pitch.
She looked beautiful. Let me add that to save some face.
Good pull there. Like it. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the most important thing you said is that you guys won the audience choice because your audience were CRNAs. And I think, not all the judges were CRNAs of that contest. But I mean, that gives you some background about this product and what it really is used for, and the people that are using it seem to like it. And, if you look at it, say from a cost standpoint, because I mean, obviously somebody's gonna have to go in and sell these things, or, you got to have all the talking points. And I'm a business guy, so, as Sharon says, I always go back to the money side of it. But I mean, if what you're saying is true and the cost differential is the same, or even a little less, I mean, depending upon, what they're having to use and how much oxygen and so forth goes into that cost differential. Is it, in your opinion, is this a safer product?
Anytime you get a more accurate end-tidal CO2 and a better oxygen delivery, it's safer. Without testing it, I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but our initial thinking is that it is safer.
So I'm just trying to, kind of paint the picture here. I mean, if you can prove that the cost is the same or less, it's a safer product, then you've got a great natural market there. So
1 cent cheaper.
1 cent cheaper. There you go. Every 1 cent adds up. Penny saves, a penny earned, right?
Yeah, and more efficient, more effective. Deliver a better product at a cheaper price. We're also doing plastic analysis. When you start adding different medical devices, you put a mask on, you put the amount, the grams of plastic start to add up. So we're in the middle of doing that now, and we're about 1/3 of the plastic used.
Wow.
So that was another thing that we were looking at. It's a greener, more efficient. You're not wasting as much.
it's less products shipped because it's less products used. I mean, there's a whole trail of plastics that we've been getting into, and we're almost done the analysis, but it's been pretty eye-opening to say the least.
Well, that's something I wouldn't have thought about, but it makes total sense. I call these duh moments whenever I hear them, and I'm like, duh, I should have thought of that. But if I'm using a couple of airways, which I do practically every day because you misjudge it sometimes, and I'm pretty doggone good, but sometimes don't you just don't know. And then you're chucking one in the trash or whatever. Now I will tell you the only problem I have with this is I don't believe y'all have sent me any of these for me to try.
We're getting our first shipment in 2 weeks. It's always 2 weeks, but hopefully in about a month, and you will get it.
We actually got a shipment today of and I'm holding it up to the camera. I know most of you aren't viewing, but we got another shipment today because we've been asked to have a poster presentation next week at the World Airway Management meeting. It's in Florence, Italy.
Oh, well, hate that. My most favorite city on the face of the earth. Oh my
John's
gosh.
flying solo next week, Sharon. I don't know what your schedule is, but I'm bringing my wife.
Oh, Florence, you got to go to the leather market. I'll be looking for something whenever y'all come back now.
The market. I'm writing it down. But no, I will send you. This is obviously not, this was medically grade 3D printed. It gets the job done for us to show visuals, but it is not made of polypropylene.
We'll send.
But I will gladly send you one. I don't know how to mail to an RV, but
Yeah. Can they be autoclaved? I'm sure they're disposable though, so I only get to use one.
I will send you a box.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll send you guys a box or two.
Yeah.
I mean, we appreciate you guys having us on. I also like to thank ANA for having that roommate innovation lab that they do. They were very helpful. Sharissa was really, really great. I can't give her enough praise. And
I miss her.
the whole judges as a whole were fantastic. So we're very thankful for that opportunity.
She is awesome. She helped us with the hackathon that we did, the first ever hackathon this past year. Myself and Rebecca Love and Sharissa was involved in that. Her background's military, buddy. You better stand up straight and salute whenever you talk to her now.
Her service too. She was great. She's such a great person. We loved her.
We're planning on, if we're allowed, we have another idea of a second device, our second of several devices that we're probably going to apply to be in that again next year. So hopefully we have an in with Charissa loving the both of us, and we could become a finalist again next year.
Sounds like a good throwout right there. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
And by that time you'll have a little more seasoning under your belt, and have the products and so forth. So it'd be great. So, but well, listen, guys, as we wrap up, we want to thank you guys for being on the show. Great information. Obviously, we're always looking for ways that we can benefit the CRNA community and let them know what's out there. I mean, we do have a large listenership and majority of CRNAs. Of course, we are in 120 different countries. So if you start getting emails from folks in other countries, that might be because of the show. But we really want to thank you for being on and doing what you're doing to help out the CRNA community. And innovation and so forth is kind of the way forward here. And anesthesia is kind of it's an art, but it's one that, as I've looked at from the outside, there are a lot of antiquated things that are still in anesthesia that probably need to be updated. And obviously, John, Sharon, you do it every day. You guys are the ones that probably need to invent that. So tell you a quick story. We had a CRNA on one time who only had one arm, and he invented a way to turn the gas machine on with just one arm, but still being able to intubate. He invented all these tools and so forth. Pretty cool. You know what? Necessity is the mother of all invention. And John, it sounds like, you were just not happy with those airways and you're like, man, I got to do it better. And here you go. It's coming to fruition. So I know you're excited about it.
A couple simple changes made a big difference. And I'm proud of it. a nice little handy device for all CRNAs.
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah.
Was this person a CRNA and then lost an arm? Or was this
No,
person
he was born without an arm.
Born without an arm.
and then
Yeah.
decided to become a CRNA knowing that they wouldn't be able to operate certain equipment? It was like, nah, that's fine. I'll just figure out a
I'll
way
figure
to
it
do
out.
it.
Great
He
guy.
did. And he was
Great
a
guy.
fireman and in the military. One of our most favorite podcasts. And we were taping live in front of a studio audience in Pennsylvania in front of about 500 people.
That's
at a
amazing.
meeting.
We were in Hershey, Pennsylvania, actually. That's right.
Was he from Pennsylvania?
Yes. Yes. It was
Amazing.
one of our most favorite podcasts. Brett
An
Fajan.
awesome guy, Brett Fajan. Yeah, he's
He's a
amazing guy, wonderful guy. So we always give him a shout out. And, you know, Jason and John, I know you guys are both Buccaneers fans, so go Bucks. I mean, that's awesome. What were Cowboys? I can't remember which
Oh
team.
boy.
Oh,
Fighting
Oh,
words.
I can't go to South Philly now. I know. I can't go.
no
can
more Pennsylvania meetings for us now.
You should be all right in Hershey, though. They're like kind of right in the middle between Pittsburgh and Philly fans. I'm
There you
going to go either way.
That's right. That's right. All right, guys. Well, listen, thank you again. Sharon, I'm going to say it's a wrap.
Thank you for tuning in to Beyond the Mask. If you enjoy the show and want to help us grow, the best way to support us is simple. Leave a review on your favorite podcast platform, share the show on social media, and tell your friends. Your word of mouth is what keeps us going strong. We're proud to consistently rank in the top 50 medical podcasts nationwide and to be #1 in the CRNA community. All thanks to listeners like you. Your support helps us stay there, and we couldn't do it without you. We'll see you on the next Beyond the Mask.
This is Jackie Rolls, President of the International Federation of Nurse Anesthetists. I'm inviting you to attend the 15th World Congress for Nurse Anesthetists, May 7th through 9th, 2026 in Brisbane, Australia. I promise you that you will love meeting nurse anesthetists from around the world, attending the multitude of Congress sessions, and exploring the many unique experiences that Brisbane has to offer. Hold a koala bear, feed kangaroos directly from your hand, climb Story Bridge, one of the only 3 climbing bridges in the world, or travel to snorkel the Great Barrier Reef. This is one Congress you do not want to miss. Cheers!